Hi, Ghost Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain a science fiction drama film called Finch. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The story begins with a world of the future, which is now completely destroyed. Some years ago, a massive solar flare collided with Earth, which destroyed the ozone layer of the planet entirely. Now, there are very few people left on Earth, and those who remain are struggling to survive. Due to the destruction of the ozone layer, UV rays have now spread on the Earth, which is very dangerous for humans. The temperature of the Earth remains around 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that no human being can go out in the sun without protection. There are always big storms here, and in one such storm, we see a man named Finch. He is wearing a suit and helmet to protect against UV rays and temperature. He is accompanied by his robot Dewey, and they both go to a store to find supplies. Finch finds a can of food, which was dog food, with which he comes to a lab. This was the same lab where Finch used to work before. Finch had a dog named Goodyear, whom he loved very much. Here we learn that Finch is suffering from some unknown disease. Finch was slowly dying, and did not have much time. Later, with the help of AI, Finch uploads basic instructions on his new project like how to take care of a dog, how to do household chores and so on. Since Finch loves Goodyear more than anything, he is working on building a highly specialized robot to care for her after her death. Finch has been doing a lot of studies on UV rays and radiation exposure. Later, he removes Davy's eyes and attaches them to his new robot. After turning on the robot, it starts transmitting data to it. After several failed attempts to communicate, the robot eventually nods its head, indicating that it understands what Finch is trying to say. Finch is very pleased with the robot's response, and the fact that he has taken it a step further. He also plays with his dog, believing that he may soon find a new friend. Finch then asks the robot to tell something about itself. The robot says that it has some rules, such as not harming humans, but the most important rule is that it must take care of Goodyear at all costs in Finch's absence. Suddenly the power goes off. Finch heads out to repair the wind turbine. He connects the cables, after which the lights are restored. Inside, the robot reveals its name to be Jeff. Meanwhile, they see a terrifying storm coming. Finch comes back and connects Jeff to the weather station, so he can make a forecast. Jeff says that in the next 24 hours 4 different storms will approach them, and their speed will be 155 kilometers per hour. They will not survive it. He also estimates that it will last for about 40 days. Hearing this, Finch realizes that they will have to leave soon. He decides to go to San Francisco, but the robot only had 72% data transfer, so it needed to be trained. After a little practice, Jeff starts walking successfully. However, the data was not fully transferred, which is why Jeff is not fully developed. That's why he behaves like a child. The 4 of them get into an RV and head to San Francisco before a storm hits. Jeff is very curious at the beginning of the ride, as he tries to learn everything Finch can do. For the time being, the group has managed to survive the storm. Then they stop at a deserted town. Finch puts on a UV protection suit and calls Jeff to come out with him. He then begins teaching Jeff basic survival instructions and the dangers of the sun. The two also have a funny moment when they pop some popcorn in the sun. However, their happiness is short-lived when Finch sees the storm approaching. He gathers everyone and tries to survive the storm, but soon realizes that he cannot survive the storm. Finch runs outside with Jeff and orders him to help wire up the RV. After Finch gets tired, Jeff takes over and successfully completes the task. Finch then goes inside the RV and secures it. Soon a massive tornado occurs, and all the strings begin to break, one after the other, until only one remains. Luckily, the storm is averted and everyone is okay. When Finch comes out, he sees that the cable Jeff installed stayed put. Finch appreciates Jeff's good work, but is dismayed to find that the vehicle's front tire is damaged. He has a spare tire but no jack to lift the vehicle. However, Jeff simply uses his strength to lift the vehicle, and tells Finch to change the tire. The next morning, Jeff attempts to communicate with Goodyear, saying that he is trying to learn dog language. But Finch wakes up and explains to them that it will take some time for him and Goodyear to get on well. Finch takes his RV and moves on from here, but then his condition starts getting worse, and his nose starts bleeding. Seeing this, Jeff says, "Let's drive in the RV. You need rest." But Finch knew that Jeff has just learned to walk. He can't drive, that's why he doesn't let him drive. Going forward, Finch stops at a restaurant, where Finch vomits blood. Realizing he doesn't have much time left, Finch takes Goodyear inside the restaurant, and starts playing with her. Jeff was in the RV. Curious, Jeff starts the RV, and collides with a car. Finch comes out and tells Jeff that you can't drive now. I want you to bring my helmet and UV suit to me, but Jeff wants to bring the luggage. Instead, the RV reverses, and collides with the house once again. Seeing this, Finch gets angry, and he takes his hand in the sun, due to which his hand starts burning. He wanted to show Jeff that he cannot go out in the sun. Finch angrily says that I made you only for this reason, so that you take care of the dog. I want you to do your work only. After leaving the restaurant, Finch decides to give Jeff a driving lesson. At first Jeff is as clumsy as ever, but he soon gets used to it and learns to drive with ease. At night, they stop by the side of the road to set up camp. Jeff asks why we always travel during the day. Why don't we travel at night? Then Finch tells him that they are at risk from scavengers at night. They kill people and take their belongings. During the day they emit UV rays, can't come out because of this, and stay hidden in the shadow. That's why we travel during the day. After a while Finch goes to sleep, but as soon as morning comes, Finch's health gets worse. Jeff asks, how can I help you? Finch says, call the doctor. Here he was trying to tell Jeff that you can't help me, yet Jeff takes care of her. Jeff then moves on with the RV, knowing that Finch is sick and needs medical attention. So when they reach a large city, Jeff wakes up Davy and the two go out in search of supplies. They find a hospital that looks plundered, but Jeff doesn't know it yet. That's why he keeps on going. When Finch wakes up, he finds that both robots are missing. He knows trouble is coming, so even though he's extremely weak, he gets ready and sets off to find Jeff and Dewey. Jeff is happy to find food, medicine, and even a fancy jacket for himself. Meanwhile, Davy finds some snacks, where we also see a bear trap, but just as he reaches for the snack, the bear trap rips him apart. Finch comes to him upon hearing his voice, and is very sad to see Dewey. Soon, Finch hears thunder and finds Jeff as well. Finch insisted that they could no longer stay at that place as it was not safe for them. The two then run away, but Finch can barely get to his feet. When they reach their RV, they immediately speed off, but a vehicle begins following them. After reaching some distance, Finch handed over the steering to Jeff and told him not to make any mistake in future. He also noticed that the car was still following them. They turn off the headlights as Jeff is able to see in the dark. While the mysterious car is still following them, Finch suggests to Jeff to step on the accelerator and speed up. As they are driving into a storm, Finch grabs the wheel and drives it off the road. He intends to use the underpass instead. Despite Jeff's best efforts to explain that the RV's height is higher than the underpass, Finch doesn't listen and eventually it crashes, and the RV's solar panels are destroyed. After the crash, Jeff uses his strength to push the RV inside. The car that was following them arrives. However, it stays on for a while, and then goes away. Upon learning that the men are gone, Finch runs outside and finds that all of his solar panels have been damaged. He starts blaming himself for his poor decision and also mentions that he cannot rectify it. Jeff assures her that he can still take them to San Francisco, but Finch snaps at him and stops talking. An angry Finch then returns to the vehicle while Jeff stands outside in the rain. After a while, innocent Jeff comes inside the RV. Meanwhile, Finch shares a story, explaining why he doesn't trust people, and how he discovered the Goodyear in a bag. He mentions that Goodyear was scared and alone, and how he promised to protect her at any cost. Finch says hunger can turn a good man into a killer, but it turns Finch into a coward, as he hides while some young boys kill a young girl and her mother in a supermarket. Jeff is driving while a weak Finch rests. Suddenly, Jeff notices a butterfly on the windshield. He immediately stops the RV, and wakes up Finch, and points to the butterfly. Finch gets up, and extends his hand, but finds that the sunlight has no effect on it. Then he goes out and feels the sun. The ozone layer, which was destroyed earlier, has now come back into existence with time. He sees a flower and another butterfly and laughs heartily. As they continue their journey, they find fields of flowers. Later, Finch dresses up and they decide to have a picnic in the sun, something she hasn't done in over a decade. Today, 10 years after he went out without a helmet and suit, Finch shared some more memories from his past, while also wishing that he could make life better. Upon hearing this, Jeff wakes up excitedly and tells them that if they leave now, they will reach the Golden Gate Bridge in about 18 hours. Finch says that I am dying now, I will leave you all soon, so promise me that you will always take care of Goodyear. Jeff says that I promise. When Finch sees Jeff and Goodyear playing, he is very happy. Then suddenly Finch starts coughing up blood. When Jeff asks if he can help him, Finch replies that he has already done so. Then she shook hands with Jeff and they hugged. Here, Jeff is clearly upset, and we can see that he has feelings too. Jeff then takes Finch to the RV. Finch caresses his dog one last time before dying, and closes his eyes. Then the two burn Finch on the ground with his UV suit. After they mourn, Jeff continues with Finch's daily routine and feeds the dog. Goodyear begins to feel safe with Jeff, and begins to change. Jeff also feels that Goodyear is now his responsibility, and they leave again. He befriends Goodyear, who eventually embraces him. When they finally reach the Golden Gate Bridge, Jeff builds a monument to Finch. There they find many messages people have left for their loved ones, letting them know where they can be found. This leads to the conclusion that the number of survivors is high, with the possibility of reuniting family members. In the final scene, Jeff pins a picture of Finch, Goodyear and himself to the fence. Then they both go somewhere else. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.